Hello again. This is Unit 10 of Learn As You Play Flute and pages 26 and 27. Two new concepts are introduced in this. There are accent signs, which are like little arrows, little arrowheads over notes. An accent simply means that you emphasize or attack the note. And it's a good idea to do that with a little attack from the diaphragm, a little punch from the diaphragm. The other concept are dotted crotchets. A dotted crotchet is worth 1.5 counts. Usually they are followed by a quaver, like so. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Nothing happens on the downbeat of beat 2. The dotted crotchet is simply extended, the C to begin with, the 1.5 counts, into the second half of beat 2. This is certainly true of all time signatures in 2/4 and 3/4 and 4/4. Okay. Exercise 1 has dotted crotchets. Dotted crotchets slurred to quavers. The exercise is in G major. It has 1 sharp, F sharp, so just be careful of that when you come to play it. It's all in the low register as well. Here we go. You can see that dotted crotchet doesn't give quite the regularity that would be if the A which followed it was actually played on the beat. I'll just play that for you. The dotted crotchet does this. It just gives the rhythm more variety. Exercise 2 is similar. There are more slurred notes in this, particularly slurred quavers in the second bar B to A, and in the third bar C to B, and in the third bar D to C. Here it goes. The tonguing in that is quite complex. You can see with this, on this sheet, that I've actually put little T's in front of the notes at the top. Just to help students who find problems with actually tonguing work, knowing where the tonguing goes. Exercise 3 is interesting because there are 2 slurred quavers in the second bar, G to F sharp, followed by 2 tongued quavers with staccato dots underneath on the G and A, the second beat, 2 quaver beats. Beats 3 and 4 are taken care of by dotted crotchets followed by a quaver. Here we go. careful of the dynamics in that, because it's marked with P's, piano, crescendos, fortes, F's, diminuendos to a P at the end. So it's quite a long diminuendo from forte in the middle of the piece back down to piano at the end of the piece. Okay, you might like to take that into consideration. Page 27, there is a repertoire piece called The Emperor of Germany's March, which includes dotted crotchets followed by quavers, staccato notes, slurred notes, 4 slurred quavers in a row, dotting between the high register, well, high middle register, and the low register. So this is quite a tough piece to play. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. The last line's interesting because we have an arpeggio, the last 4.5 bars, because, again, arpeggio, G, E, C and D with a slur over, played forte, loudly, followed by the same notes, G, E, C and D, played softly with staccato. And then at the end, 5 slurred notes, G, E, C, D and B, slurred. I'll just play those, the last 4 bars. Okay. I'll go on to the fanfare at the end, which is a duet. For 2 pupils this time, not pupil and student. So I'll play both parts. This is pupil 1. It has, it's repeated, both halves have repeat signs. So be prepared for that. So this is pupil 1 to begin with. It's in 3 systems of 2 lines each. Here we go. Now I'll play pupil 2 part. You will notice bars 5, 6, 7 and 8, both in the first part and the second part, have accents above the first 3 G's of the bar. So if you can emphasize those, that will be really useful. This is pupil 2 part. It begins with 2 empty bars. So I'll play those as though pupil 1 is playing those 2 bars. And then you'll see when you look at the music where the second student comes in. Okay, I'll just play the first empty bars softly. Okay, so you may have tried accompanying yourself or playing with the other imaginary part. So if for example, you want to play pupil 2 part, then you might go back to where I played pupil 1 part, and then you can play it as a duet, and vice versa. Right, well, I hope that's useful. There's some quite good concepts in that. So the accent signs and the dotted crotchets. Just watch, particularly in the Emperor of Germany's March and the fanfare on page 7, that you're effectively playing everything correctly in the second register. There's a tone development in the second part of the page 27 of Unit 10. Let me just play this for you. This is quite useful. It just has long notes. Playing long notes is really useful, particularly going from low register notes into the second register. Play these regularly. It says, sustain the pause note for as long as possible, trying at all times to achieve a rich, full tone. Keep the lips still during the first rest. Start the second note with the tone developed in bar 1. It says, tune the interval a perfect fifth by using the jaw, a forward movement to raise the pitch, a backward movement to lower the pitch. No, don't do that. Keep the jaw the same all the way through as far as you can. Just keep the head up, keep the jaw back if anything, and remember the top lip over the blowhole, blowing down into the flute. And then it goes on to say, repeat exercise A using the notes shown in exercise B, C, and D. Let me just play this for you. So this is tone development exercise 1. Once you've played it, you could memorize that and then play it again, several times and listen to the sound you're making. It's very easy to do this. And split the second note. Try not to do that. Exercise B is B to F sharp. Same thing as in exercise A, but just down a semitone. And then C is A to E natural. And then D is G natural to D natural to G. Not only can you use that exercise, the tone development exercise, for listening to the clarity of the notes and the kind of tone produced, but you could also listen to it. You could also use it to look into a mirror and check the blowhole is centered to the lips, your fingers are close to the keys, and you're keeping your head up and relaxing. And also, it's useful for listening to your vibrato. Play it with vibrato and without vibrato. So if I play exercise A, you'll see what I mean. That's without vibrato. With vibrato is. I suggest spending quite some time on tone exercises. The first thing people notice about a flute player is the kind of sound they produce. If it's a good sound, they're likely to continue listening. If it's not, they won't. So try and get the tone, develop the tone as much as you can. Okay. Thank you very much for listening. See you again. Bye-bye.